Action. Who, if anyone, is your favourite Batman villain?
My favourite Batman villain is probably the Joker. I just think he's probably the most interesting and that's probably the most cliched one, but still he's probably my favourite and the one I find most interesting.
Who do you think would win, Batman or Superman?
Well, obviously Batman's more intelligent, so if he had more time to prepare than Batman, but Superman is far stronger than he is, so it would definitely be Superman.
What was your first Batman film?
My first Batman film probably was The Dark Knight. Like, I don't remember seeing many before then. So yeah.
If you have read any, what comic book is your favourite and why?
I have read a few. My favourite is probably The Dark Knight Returns, because I just think it's a really good story and everything. And I just like dark comics, to be honest.
What is your opinion on Batman?
My opinion on Batman is probably my favourite superhero and probably one of my favourite characters. Maybe.
How did you get into Batman?
Mostly from the movies. Like, I just saw the movies and I like them, and I just started reading the comics. And the first Batman comic I read was Hush, and so I thought that was good. So I read more comics. Yeah, yeah.
Did you know that Bruce Wayne is not the only Batman?
Well, yes, I think so. Well, I kind of knew that.
Okay. Who, if anyone, is your favourite Batman villain?
I would have to say the Riddler, because he's most interesting, and especially because of all these riddles.
Who do you think would win, Batman or Superman?
Superman would definitely win in a fight unless Batman had time to prepare.
What was your first Batman film?
My first Batman film was probably the original with Adam West. Yeah.
If you have read any Batman comic, what is your favourite and why?
I haven't actually read any comics, I just know of them. But
Okay.
I would have to say the Under the Red Hood, because I think it's really interesting.
What is your opinion on Batman?
My opinion on Batman, he's an interesting character, mainly because you don't really know much about him. And there are so many different versions of him as well, so it's just really interesting.
How did you get into Batman?
The original TV show is how I got into Batman, the Adam West one.
Did you know that Bruce Wayne is not the only Batman?
I did. Yeah, there are quite a few Batman people.
Through the years, there have been many characters that have taken up the mantle of the Batman, the Dark Knight, the Caped Crusader, whatever nickname you want to give him. I'm going to list some of my personal favourites because I find them interesting and surprising. First of all, we've got the Flashpoint Batman, also known as Thomas Wayne. In this universe, instead of Bruce Wayne's parents, Thomas and Martha, getting gunned down in Crime Alley, Bruce himself got killed, and Thomas Wayne became a more abusive Batman. He wasn't shy of killing or anything in that sense, and his mother became the Joker, which is even more terrifying in my opinion. You have also had the resurrected Robin, Jason Todd, take up the mantle as Batman, only for a little while, as he was appallingly bad and nearly beat one of the Robins to death. He, as Thomas Wayne did as well, didn't mind the killing. He actually quite revelled in it. My next character I'm going to mention is the first Robin and everyone's favourite, Dick Grayson, also known as Nightwing. He took up the mantle when Bruce Wayne was presumed dead after he was sent back in time, which also brings me to bring up the fact that Bruce Wayne's biological son, Damian Wayne, became the Robin, also another Batman. In this universe, Bruce Wayne was dead and Dick Grayson was in no shape to become Batman himself. So Damian Wayne took up the mantle. He was a pretty ruthless Batman. He had spikes in his knuckles and would always scare criminals half to death. The final Batman I am going to be mentioning is a personal favourite because I remember seeing him when I was a child in the cartoon series. His name is Azrael, also known as John Paul Valley. He was trained as an assassin, and then he tore away from the Brotherhood and was trained under Batman. When Batman had his back broken by Bane in the 90s, Azrael took up the mantle himself. But eventually, Bruce Wayne was back to health and had to take down Azrael as his conditioning from the Order of Saint Dumas, who was the assassins, had been rewired in a sense. It's the evil versions of Batman. There have been many evil Batmen. I'm going to list my current favourites from the DC event called DC Metal, where evil versions of Batman have appeared from alternate Earths. First of all, I am going to be mentioning the Batman Who Laughs. And this is essentially a combined character of Batman and the Joker. What if the Batman became Joker? He, in my opinion, has the best costume design and look altogether. He is utterly terrifying. Second, I am going to be talking about a culmination of the Flash, and just simply known as the Red Death. In this universe, Batman was jealous of the Flash for his use of the Speed Force. So he decided to kill the Flash and take the Speed Force for himself. What happened, we don't know, as the comic is still going on at this time. Now we have a version of Batman which I personally love. His name is the Devastator. He is a combination of Batman and the supervillain Doomsday, who, if you do not know, is the only villain to beat Superman in hand-to-hand combat. He killed him straight out for a good few months until he got resurrected. Next, I will be talking about the Drowned. In this universe, all the major characters are female. So instead of Batman, it's Batwoman, Bruce Wayne, Bryce Wayne. In this universe, Bryce Wayne kills Aquawoman and takes her powers for herself, and then ultimately joins up with the Batman Who Laughs and the Red Death and the Devastator. Next will be Green Lantern Batman, or as he is currently known, Dawnbreaker, which personally, just the name itself is just beautiful. He managed to break the willpower of the ring. The ring itself is focused on your will to do things. He managed to break it to 200% capability, which no one has ever done. The final two I am mentioning is the Merciless, a combination of Wonder Woman and Batman. And, well, the name's in the description, basically. It's the Merciless. He does not show mercy. He will kill with on just a whim. The final one is Murder Machine, a cyborg Batman. In this universe, Alfred was murdered by the worst of his rogues gallery. So he made a sentient AI of Alfred to look after him when he was badly wounded, and eventually they just merged together to create Murder Machine. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, Batman vs Superman. I'm going to be talking about my personal opinion and the reason it is one of the most, not controversial, discussed topics in comic book history, I think. There have been many fights between Batman and Superman. They are best friends. They are different sides of the same coin. They both fight for truth and justice. They just have different methods. Batman is pretty violent, to put it politely, whereas Superman tends to lean towards peace if it can be done. The first instance I'm going to be talking about is, in my opinion, a win for Batman, because it shows his mind is a weapon. Superman is being mind controlled by the villainous Poison Ivy, who has somehow gotten kryptonite lipstick, which I think is a very good idea. And she essentially manages to mind control Superman to try and kill Batman and Catwoman. So Batman devises a plan as Batman usually does. He uses a combination of supersonic sounds, a kryptonite ring that Superman himself gave him, electric shocks, and pure instinct. The way that I feel Batman beat him was he told Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, you can go to either of these 3 targets, pick one and hold them hostage, sort of make it look like they are going to die. The list was Perry White, Superman, Clark Kent's boss of the Daily Planet, Lois Lane, Clark Kent's girlfriend, wife, many other things, or Jimmy Olsen, Clark Kent's friend who is a photographer. Eventually they chose Lois Lane as they felt the emotional bond was stronger. And Catwoman and Lois Lane had a struggle and Lois kind of fell off a building, but Superman managed to break the conditioning and save her himself. The final fight I will be mentioning is a personal favourite because it is just beautiful to watch. It takes place in the comic Batman Endgame. Batman essentially fights the Justice League in a suit dubbed the Justice Buster. The Justice League have been infected with the Joker toxin, which, if you do not know, essentially drives them crazy and makes them smile and laugh a lot. It is rather horrific to look at. Batman seems to be having the upper hand, absolutely crushing Superman. He's got red suns in his gauntlets, it's beautiful. But there's one thing he did not take into account, which kind of annoyed me when I read it. That Superman is constantly holding back. Because if he let loose his powers, he would probably kill Batman in one punch. If that. Superman drops a building on top of him, starts taking him to the sky. Batman beats him marginally by using one thing, one very, very unexpected thing. Kryptonite gum. Yes, that's right. Superman was beat by kryptonite gum. And even Batman himself admits, who wins in a fight, Batman or Superman? The truth is, neither of us, because we are both the best we have to offer. I am going to be talking about the time that Darkseid and Batman had a fist fight. Batman had this suit called the Hellbat. It was created by the Justice League if ever they needed to go to war. The only issue was it would slowly kill Batman as he used it. It would tear away at his skin, etc., etc. Batman essentially fought the devil on steroids when fighting Darkseid, and he managed to beat him only just, leaving with his life and his son's coffin.